What's going on, YouTube, and a big war eagle to all of you Auburn fans out there. Kennard Vernon Stewart here once again for the podcast, talking a little bit about Auburn football. I want to talk today about some position changes for the Auburn Tigers. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Now, if any of you guys know about the Gwinnett County area of Georgia, you realize it's one of the most densely populated counties in Georgia and also a very good producer of really good football players. As a matter of fact, Auburn has really cashed in the Gwinnett County area over the years. As a matter of fact, if you look at Auburn's roster, just filled with guys from Georgia, especially in that Gwinnett County area. Some of the ones that, just to note, just for illustration purposes, you got Brad Lester, who went to Parkview High School. Very good running back for the Auburn Tigers. Very a tenacious runner. Very relentless. Owen Papo, one of the best linebackers of the 2019 recruiting class, went to Grayson High School. And we all know Derek Brown. Derek Brown, one of the, if not the best defensive lineman in Auburn history. Definitely one of the most memorable. And we can never forget the two-brother tandem in David and Kenny Irons, who both went to Decula High School, which is also in Gwinnett County. Now, one of the guys I want to mention in this, because he's up for a possible position change, and that's Matthew Hill. Matthew Hill was actually the second-rated recruit for the Auburn Tigers in the 2018 recruiting class that included guys like Smoke Monday, Joey Gatewood, Anthony Swartz, and Sean Shivers. Now, here's the thing about Matthew Hill. Talented receiver. He was actually on that Brookwood High School team that almost won the state championship back in 2017. Now, here's the story with that. Brookwood started that season off with 2 losses, including a loss to rival Archer High School, but then went on a crazy run. They won 11 straight ball games, which included a huge win over Colquitt County in the regular season. But ironically, Colquitt County would actually be the team that knocks them out of the playoffs and knocks them out of the Final Four for the 7A Georgia High School playoff. Now, strangely enough, another Gwinnett County high school, North Gwinnett, actually beat Colquitt County in the state championship game. So if Brookwood would have found a way to beat Colquitt County again, it would have been 2 schools from Gwinnett County, Georgia, who would have been in the Georgia playoffs. Kind of strange the way those regions works out, but North Gwinnett eventually won that particular football game. Now, if we look at the Auburn Tigers from a roster standpoint, Matthew Hill and this whole position change thing is definitely because of a lack of talent. Matthew Hill is easily one of the more athletic, one of the more diverse players on this particular Auburn football team. The only issue right now is the wide receiver room is literally filled. I'm talking about a diverse set of talent, diverse set of skill set, diverse set of speed, height differential. I mean, Cody Burns has a lot to choose from when it comes to the wide receiver position. And with Matthew Hill, the reason why he kind of falls through the cracks in this thing is the fact that he has a skill set that's comparable to what is already in the room. I mean, you already have Anthony Swartz, assuming he comes back. You already have Eli Stove, who has a lot of experience. Those are kind of similar types of receivers in this particular situation, to where the demand for the skill set on the offensive side of the football field for Matthew Hill is just not as apparent as the need for his possible skill set at the defensive back, because you got to look at it. Noah Igbenogany obviously declaring for the NFL draft. Noah could actually be a first-round pick now that we are on that subject. But let's get back to Matthew Hill. You know, you look at the secondary situation with Auburn, and it's kind of shaky, you know, just at the surface. Now, we'll say, okay, let's just hope that Marco DeMio, our junior college transfer out of Texas, let's just hope that he can, you know, transfer over and possibly fight for a starting position, because God knows with the field cornerback in the SEC, you got to be good to do it. And Noah Igbenogany proved that he even though had a lot of crazy raw talent, could do it, was very consistent at the position. So Matthew Hill, one of the biggest accolades that he got coming out of high school was the fact that he's very good as far as blocking. That's what bought him a little bit more time on the football field. Even at Auburn, he got a pretty decent amount of playing time, especially early in the season. We saw him a little bit in the Oregon game, made some nice plays there. Also, he has a lot of range as far as speed goes, and he high points the ball very well, which was seen in the spring game just last year. So it's yet to be seen how well this possible. I mean, it's not set in stone that he will convert over to the secondary, but I believe it's going to probably have to happen, because not only does Auburn lack experience, Auburn has little to no significant depth in the secondary. And with Auburn not being able to participate in the, no team being able to have spring practice, it just that level of urgency really kicks in for if and when fall camp actually starts. Got a lot of catching up to do. And this spring was actually really critical for the Auburn defense, having lost so many players. Now, I still think pretty talented defense, but without being able to get those looks in the spring, I think that puts Auburn behind the 8 ball and probably being one of the teams that will, for lack of a better way of putting it, might suffer the most out of all the teams that are talking about competing for championships this particular year because of everything that they lost. So a guy like Matthew Hill transferring over to the defensive side of the football field, if he can be immediately successful, that would really leverage and supplement Auburn's possibility as having a good defense. Because really, if you look at Auburn's defense, some key areas have held them back. Number one is that nickel cornerback. I think Javaris Davis was very good, but his height got him in trouble in certain areas, certain times, and he proved to be a mismatch, especially against tight ends. Also, last year, we saw an upgrade in the speed of the linebackers, which really helped propel the Auburn defense to be one of the more high-level performing in the country. And then, of course, with Rodney Garner's ability to diversify Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson's positioning on the defensive line, really helped last year. I think still got some pretty talented defensive linemen there and coming in, but it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing really turns out for the Auburn Tigers. Big shout out to Matthew Hill, 6'2", 190 pounds, one of the most talented players on the Auburn football team, probably making a position change over to the secondary. How did you guys like this video? Go ahead and like it, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.